Georgia, a former Soviet republic, experienced a Maidan attempt recently, just like Ukraine in 2014. The Georgian government tried to pass a bill requiring all organizations with at least 20% foreign funding to register with the authorities. So, of course, all foreign agents started protesting this foreign agent bill. The government cancelled this bill, but the protests continued. This is probably another regime change attempt against Georgian PM Irakli Garibashvili after he refused to open a second front against Russia and send weapons to Ukraine despite requests both open and behind closed doors. Georgian President Salome Zurabishvili was in New York and supported the protesters, meaning she was in on the coup attempt. She wasn't born in Georgia, and she was a French ambassador to Georgia. She got Georgian citizenship after 2004 color revolution in Georgia. Of course, after this color revolution, Russia had a war with Georgia in 2008. This led over the separatist regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. So why a second front in Georgia? To recapture Abkhazia and South Ossetia, separatist regions in Georgia that wanted independence, just like Donetsk and Luhansk regions in Ukraine, and to distract and weaken Russian military by forcing them to fight on two fronts and to relieve that pressure from Ukraine. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned in early February that something foul was indeed afoot in that former Soviet republic. He told a popular TV anchor at the time that the fact that they would like to turn Georgia into another irritant, to roll back the situation into aggressive condition of Saakashvili era is beyond doubt. Saakashvili was president or prime minister of Georgia in 2008 when Russia had a special military operation against Georgia. Russia-Georgia conflict of 2008. So what is color revolution or Maidan or regime change operation? Basically, student protests that are funded by foreign organizations designed to escalate into wider revolution after government cracks down on student protests. The wider revolution leads to regime change, government change, and a new puppet government is installed that is friendly to foreign governments, certain foreign governments who are inciting these protests. These protests are either organized by US government, CIA, or they are funded by Western oligarchs like George Soros. Usually NGOs and universities are involved in these operations and they receive funding from foreign actors. These protests use students and activists, aka useful idiots, to subvert and or compromise either political interests of the government that is in charge of that nation or geopolitical interests of that country to serve foreign, usually Western, geopolitical interests under the guise of freedom, democracy, and human rights. Really, really evil stuff. Here are few examples. Should I? So here are few examples. 2004 Orange Revolution and 2014 Maidan coup in Ukraine. 1989 Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia that led to breakup of Czechoslovakia. 2003-2004 Rose Revolution in Georgia. 2007 Saffron Revolution in Myanmar. Arab Spring. This is a group of revolutions in Arab world. This is called Arab Spring. This Arab Spring began in early 2010s. Here's the full list in the Arab Spring. 2010-11 Jasmine Revolution in Tunisia. 2011 Lotus Revolution in Egypt. 2011 Yemeni Revolution. And 2011 Pearl Revolution in Bahrain. 2011, this is all Arab Springs. Here are a few more examples of all these revolutions and regime change attempts. 2011 Jasmine Chinese Revolution. This is different from Jasmine Revolution in in Tunisia in 2011. 2011 Jasmine Chinese Revolution and Snow Revolution in Russia 2011. 2018 Yellow Vests in France and 2022 Steppe Revolution in Kazakhstan. 1989 Tiananmen Square Massacre is also believed to be a color revolution or a Maidan attempt or regime change attempt. Student protests followed by government crackdown, followed by wider protests, followed by government crackdown. The famous image of that was the Tank Man. I cannot say for sure if this is a color, if 1989 Tiananmen Square Massacre was a color revolution or Maidan or regime change attempt, but there are a lot of similarity. Another one believed to be a regime change attempt is 2019 protests in India. 2019-2020 protests in India. The anti-CAA protests and anti-farm law protests had a lot of student support. Canadian PM Trudeau and Rihanna supported the protesters. Greta Thunberg tweeted a toolkit for protesters. Yes, this was definitely a foreign funded protest. But the Modi government didn't crack down hard, which probably avoided wider protests. So this was over a foreign agent law. Are there other countries that have a foreign agent law? Russia and China have this law. Israel have this law. Hungary, the native country of George Soros, also has a foreign agent law. But here's the funny part. The Georgian foreign agent law, which was slammed by Western media as pro-Russian, is probably inspired by US foreign agent law. Yes, US foreign agent law. In 1796, prior to his retirement from presidency, George Washington, the first president of the United States, George Washington warned about foreign nations seeking to influence both the American government and the public, namely through local tools and dupes, aka students and activists in modern times, aka useful idiots. FARA, FARA, Foreign Agent Registration Act, was enacted in US in 1938 to avoid political subversion and foreign propaganda, particularly from Nazi Germany, but also from Soviet Union. So what does this mean? Is USA a constitutional republic, doesn't have freedom, democracy and human rights? Or is the foreign agent law necessary to avoid subversion of national interests in favor of foreign interests? The question arises then, why doesn't India have its own foreign agent law? India clearly has independent foreign policy, as made evident by India's response to Russia-Ukraine conflict. George Soros has been after the Indian government and is trying a regime change since 2014. So if India is to become a major power like United States, Russia and China, it needs to have this law to avoid foreign subversion and political propaganda.